Welcome to the Pathways to Surrender podcast. I'm Michael Warmoth, and thank you for joining us for this guided meditation. Please note that these meditations are recorded in a tropical setting with the windows and doors open, so you will hear birds and other sounds. Try not to let them distract you from the words. Let's take a moment now to just get settled in, get comfortable and relaxed. Maybe close our eyes and take some breaths and just listen to the music before the meditation starts. For so many of us, life appears to be about looking for the next thing to do. The next thing to make our life better, or the next thing to fix what's wrong. Our focus has been on doing and fixing and trying to make better. But these tasks have not necessarily been guided by inspiration, more by desperation. And when we are on this spiritual journey, becoming conscious and waking up, it's not unusual for our desperation to grow stronger as we run up against the inability of the ego to find a way to make us happy. It is important for us to remember that the potential and possibility for happiness exists right now, in this instant. Not because of what we do, but because of what we know. But when we are dissociated and distracted with all the tasks that we have accumulated for ourselves, we actually are not capable of knowing what is going to lead us to happiness. Of all the things that are difficult to accept, perhaps the most difficult is that there is nothing we can do to find peace. That peace will come when we stop doing the things we are doing that make it unavailable to us, because we have an idea about ourselves that in some way we are not good enough, that we are somehow not smart enough, whatever our judgments of ourselves are. We think the only way out is to do something or make things better. When we realize that peace is here right now, the capacity for peace is in every one of us already. We have the ability to know peace right now. Then everything changes. When we first hear these kinds of words, it is tempting, and most likely that the ego will jump in with criticism, with judgment, with regret and shame and guilt that we have been doing this and that we can't just stop doing it. But that is an absolutely unrealistic expectation. The kind of betrayal and hurt that led us to become dependent on the ego and being in control is not easily processed. And it does have to be processed in some way. That means being available to the feelings, to the strong emotions. For most of us, in this culture and many other cultures, strong emotions are not welcome. People are uncomfortable with them. We are told to keep them to ourselves. They are a sign of weakness. All kinds of messages go along with that. But if we deny any feeling, we deny all of them. And we cannot know happiness and peace because they are felt. They are not a thought or an idea. They are an experience We know peace when we know ourselves and allow ourselves to be exactly as we are. When we want to change or fix something, we have ruled out the possibility of peace. And we are probably firmly convinced that there is something that absolutely has to change or be fixed before we can know peace. We may not think of it in terms of earning or deserving, but there is probably some of that going on also. We are not worthy. We don't deserve to feel good. These are all things that we slowly become conscious of as we awaken. And it often seems to make our life more of a struggle than less, as the desire in us to let go becomes stronger. The ego fights back harder. Not because the ego is a power against us, but because we are afraid to let go of control. And as we begin to see more and more how that is the only way out for us, our fear grows. So we must be forgiving. We must be compassionate. We must be understanding. And we must understand that it is not reasonable to expect that we would just be able to shift our trust and faith from control to the truth. We felt betrayed by reality, by the world, by the universe, by God, deeply betrayed. A betrayal so painful that we couldn't process it on our own. And if we were not supported in processing it, the only way out was to dissociate and institute the program, control, and the ego. There is no point judging what should have been and what shouldn't have been. There is no value in that, no relief. The more we can just come to accept what is, and that it is not actually up to us to fix or change anything, the sooner we can find peace. And so, let us keep in mind that peace is knowable in this moment. Maybe we won't let ourselves know it right now. There is nothing wrong with that. Our discomfort just hasn't become strong enough yet. We are capable of withstanding a great deal of suffering before we let go. It doesn't have to be that way, but it often is. The question you can ask yourself right now is, do you believe that you can know peace right now? Do you think you have that capacity, that ability, that possibility? Can you remember a time when you knew to the bottom of your heart that everything was okay? Many of us have had some experience of that at some time, even if it was only an instant. But we knew with an unshakable faith and trust that everything was okay. That is our lifeline. We can remember that. If we can't, then we must understand that it is the experience of truth that is available to every one of us. We know that to be true because it is the essence of our existence. There are plenty who have experienced it and talked about it and written about it. And when we hear their words, we know they are true. Even if we aren't experiencing it in that moment, it resonates within us because the truth is real within us. Every moment is a moment of infinite potential and possibility. Everything can change in an instant. If we will hold that as true, we will remember that. We can change our state, can begin to allow ourselves to let go, because that is what we need, to allow ourselves to let go. Allow ourselves to reconnect with the truth within us, always there, always available, always the ground of our reality. This is the truth about every one of us, that we are capable of knowing peace and the truth, and that when we are experiencing suffering and struggle, it is not reality. It is a temporary hallucination. It is actually more clear to say that suffering is not a hallucination, but the cause for it is. Because the cause of the suffering is the beliefs we hold, the ways we limit and constrict and deny the truth. So let us hold the knowledge, the knowing that peace is the reality of this moment, and that what doesn't feel like peace is an effect of what we are doing with our mind. We are thinking and believing and telling ourselves. And we are not to blame for that. We are not weak for that. There is nothing wrong with us. Every one of us has our own journey to make, to undo the conditioning and the betrayal. But the truth is universal and absolute, cannot be denied. Nothing can make the truth not true. And the firmer we are in that conviction, the closer we are to letting go. Don't look for ways to fix yourself. Don't tie yourself up in the endless search for a new solution. There is nothing wrong becoming educated. But when we are convinced there is something wrong with us that must be fixed, we cannot find peace. And every one of us deserves to know peace. It is our birthright. It is what we were made to know. Let us not deny our natural heritage to be a conscious human being capable of knowing love, light, and peace. That is who we are. Thank you for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you would like more information on these meditations and teachings, you can visit pathwaystosurrender.com. You might be interested in our other podcast, Pathways to Wholeness. These are episodes of meditative teachings designed to help us move to the next step in our journey, letting go and learning to surrender, overcoming resistance. That's Pathways to Wholeness. Look for the next episode soon. We'll be uploading them every couple of days. See you next time.